Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. Get some feedback. We appreciate everyone joining us today to talk about downsizing and right sizing. I'm Perry Goodbar. I'm the Director of Sales here at Regency Oaks. And today we are joined by two residents, great ambassadors for Regency Oaks. You'll meet them in a few moments. You can actually see them on your screen there, seated at the table. Judy Studebaker. Judy and her husband Wayne have been great residents here for the past 8 years. And then we have Chet James joining us, and he and his wife Edie have been with us now for 4 years. So as we go through the presentation this morning, they will be interjecting at different times of their experiences and the topic of downsizing and right sizing and how they've made some of these difficult decisions to make things work in their new home here at Regency Oaks. A couple of housekeeping announcements. We've got a number of folks joining us today on the computer. At the end of the presentation, if we haven't addressed all of your questions, you'll be able to ask questions at that time. Right now, we have controlled and turned off everyone's microphone, so we can't hear you. But as we finish the presentation, and if there are outstanding questions, you'll have the opportunity at that point to answer questions. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and we'll get started. So again, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to spending the next half hour or so roughly with you. So the concept today of right sizing and downsizing is really in reference to as many of you have to go from larger homes into a different size apartment in Regency Oaks. So there's a lot of definitions of what right sizing means. It could mean that you're trying to revamp your current lifestyle to maximize opportunities for health or happiness or self-development. Again, today we're really talking about how to cut out some of the clutter and some of the things that you're wrestling with as you make decisions on how to move from where you're currently living into Regency Oaks. The quicker you do that, the sooner you get to Regency Oaks, the more excited of a worry-free life that you can have. Because once you're here, and we'll be talking through this with Judy and Chet as we go through the discussion, but you'll hear a lot of great comments that they'll make about once you get through this tough process, how the fun begins, and you get to enjoy worry-free living at Regency Oaks. So, what is right sizing? So you have to figure out what you need to cut down and out of your life. A lot of times, as you right size, you're looking at you'll after you are moving to Regency Oaks, you'll be able to cut a lot of things out of your day in terms of maintenance and things that you have to do around your house. You'll have more time to get out and about and travel. You'll have more time to spend with families and friends, because as we all stay in our homes, there's lots of chores, lots of things that we have to get through and tend to. And so really, once you make the decision and you've gone through the right sizing and downsizing, your life really does become a lot more simplified. And I think if I could ask Chet at this time, I think, Chet, you were sharing with me that your philosophy, you have some questions that have really helped you over time as you had to go through this process a couple of times now. So if I can ask Chet if he could join in with some of the 4 questions that you'd like to ask.
Doctors and facilities are very close by, much closer by than I realized when I first moved here. And what happens when I can't drive? Okay, we have transportation services that are available here to take you to grocery stores, to church, and to any kind of medical facility. And those are available during business hours, 5 days a week. And on an emergency basis, we can take care of that also. So the answer to these questions are really available right here at Regency Oaks.
So when's the right time to start resizing, to right size? A lot of people start thinking about that as they approach retirement. And some of you may have already moved from a larger house to a smaller house already, and some of you have maybe began that process or gone through the process. But I know that both Chet and Judy have moved a couple of different times, and in terms of when's the right time to start, I think they both have some conversation they'd like to share with their feelings on that as well. So, Judy, we'll start with
One of the things that you need to think about when you're considering moving to CCRC or a retirement community of any kind is do it when you're young enough to enjoy it. Because there are so many activities and so many chances for communicating, and we have entertainment, we have cocktail parties, we have educational seminars, we have games. It's just an amazing place to live. It's like living on a cruise ship without the water, in my mind, and you want to be able to enjoy it. And you don't want to have your kids have to make that decision for you. You want to be able to do it yourself.
That's great. Thanks, Judy. Chet, do you have some comments to share about when's the right time to start thinking about right sizing?
Follow up a little bit on what Judy had to say. You really need to make the decision when you make the decision, not someone else has to make it for you, okay? And if you're concerned about moving to a place like this and making new, that is absolutely not a problem, okay? My wife and I moved here, we didn't know a soul, okay? And we couldn't be happier than to be in a place like this, and we have lots of very, very close.
So Regency Oaks is really just a wonderful community that once you're here, you obviously are going to have plenty of activities, is what Judy was talking about, and Chet making friends. That's certainly not going to be a concern. So how do you start the process? That's a great question. The first step is really to have a plan, to think about what you want your new space to look like. We do provide some tools. We have some 2-scale diagrams of the apartments. Once you figure out which of the 9 different models of apartments styles that you're going to be moving into, we do have 2-scale diagrams that will help you plot through where your furniture is going to go and how it's going to look in the apartment. So that's a great thing to do. We also think if you work backwards, if you pick, what your move date is, or what your date for the house on the market, or whatever the various different timetables that you're working with, if you start with what that date is and you kind of work backwards and kind of put a plan together, by this date you need to have accomplished certain things, and keep it all in a notebook and keep it organized, it just really makes the process much more manageable. At the bottom, we talk about the 4-pile rule. Piles may not, that may be a word that you might not like. That could be a literal or a figurative pile. It could be just making a list. We were just talking to someone very recently, and we were talking, they have a 3-car garage, just an example. And so they have plenty of room. And so we were talking about, well, put tables in your garage. And as you're going through closets, as you're going through information that you have, and you're starting to figure out, are you going to take this with you? Well, that would be in one place, whether it's, again, a literal pile or a list. Is this something that you're going to want to give to a family member or a friend? That would be in a different location. And then if there are heirlooms that you want your family to hold and keep as keepsakes, that could be a different place. And then if there's a 4th section of things that you're not real sure, well, you got to sort of start the process again and figure out, do they go in one of the three locations that you've already started thinking through. Chet, you were sharing with me earlier that you had heard a unique acronym at a conference that you had attended once. You want to share that with us?
Yeah, the acronym is for stuff, okay? We all have lots of stuff, and my wife and I still have stuff, okay? But the the acronym stuff is superfluous things underfoot forever, okay? You need to get rid of the forever part of it, okay? It's not easy to do, okay? But it has to be done.
And Judy, I think that you were sharing something with us earlier about beginning the process and just getting started on trying to decide what you're keeping, what you're giving away. Do you have any comments to add to that?
Yes, because I'm a keeper and my husband is not. And so we had some discussions over what we were going to bring and what we weren't. But you just have to bite the bullet and give it up sometimes.
Yeah, that's. I know. I have a lot of things that I haven't used in a lot of years. That's just are in my garage, and I've moved a couple of times. I was in the hotel business previously, and hotel people tend to relocate quite a bit. So I've moved certain things from state to state that I haven't used in 20 years, and I don't know how I keep moving them. So again, we got to have a plan and think through what you really need and make those tough decisions. So really, that kind of goes into the next slide about starting small and working your way up. If you one of the tips that I really like on this slide is relative to clothing. Obviously, you're in a warm weather climate, or you're moving to a warm weather climate, you're not going to need as many cold weather clothes. But I like this tip that we've learned is you're in your closet, and if you haven't worn something for a while, turn the hanger and turn it around backwards. And then maybe at the end of the month or end of whatever period of time that you designate, look at that and say, well, did I wear that particular item of clothing? If I haven't, is that something that I really need to keep? Is that something that I can donate? Is that something that I can see if family or friends would want? So there's lots of little things you can do. Start with a particular closet and just work on little sections at a time to kind of work through, because if you look at it as an overwhelming task, then it's hard to figure out where to get started. But if you break it into small chunks and really just start tackling rooms at a time or closets at a time, then that really does sort of help create a little bit easier manageable process to work with. So when you think about what you're considering in the process, you need to think about your new space, and you need to think about your new lifestyle. And for example, are you going to be doing a lot of entertaining? Are you going to be cooking a lot? Judy, you were kind of sharing with us a little bit earlier some funny comments about too many dishes or too much stuff. So if you mind sharing that again, please.
When we moved in, I figured, well, I'll be cooking breakfast, but we have a wonderful place here to get breakfast very reasonably. We moved in with a dozen eggs, and 3 months later, I threw away 9 of them.
That sort of puts that in perspective about that. Maybe you're not going to be doing a lot of cooking, which is a great thing. That's another great benefit of being at a place like Regency Oaks. There's wonderful meals that are provided. Cook as much as you like, but you obviously have a lot that's provided for you here as a part of being here.
I'd like to add something else to that.
Yeah.
We have some friends who like to cook, and that's great. I choose not to.
And Chad, I think you were sharing that your wife Edie's a wonderful cook and likes to cook a lot of things, but also has a unique storage space for some of her pots and pans, I believe.
Yeah, she stores pots and pans in the oven, okay? So when she wants to bake, all of it up on top of the stove while she's using the oven. But my wife really likes to cook, so she has a lot of cooking utensils and things you use in prep for cooking. So we've managed to do that, okay, and adjusted very well.
That's great. The bottom bullet point on this slide talks about storage. We do have, and I'll let Chad and Judy share any comments about the storage. Some of our residents do have off-site storage additionally, depends on the number of items that they want to store. But each apartment here does get a storage bin. It's 4 feet high by 4 feet wide, 5 feet deep. So it's a decent sized storage for a variety of things. But as I said, some people still have the need for some off-site storage as well. But I'll turn it over to Chet and to Judy for any additional comments on storage.
I'm a keeper, my husband isn't. And so he packed up several boxes of stuff that I just knew I had to keep. And some of the stuff was my mother's, and I just didn't get rid of them. 6 months later, he said, "Okay, Judy, have you missed anything that is in those boxes?" And I had to say no. But we do have an off-site storage space because we have Christmas stuff galore, and it's the little storage space we have in the building that takes care of some, Easter stuff and that kind of, and Halloween and Thanksgiving, but all the Christmas stuff is off.
Yeah, we also have resources for people that, because you start getting into, well, what do the children want? What can I sell? What am I going to give away? But if you get into certain items of furniture that you think that you want to sell, we have great resources for people that can come out, take a look at that, help you decide what the value of that should be, and actually help you get that sold. So again, we have a lot of resources here as time becomes necessary to consider some of those options. That kind of brings into the next slide here about bringing in the reinforcements. Some of our residents have had great success with actually going out and hiring a movie manager. They can really sit down and take a lot of the work off of your hands. They can help plan out the timeline. They can sort and help you declutter and help guide you to make decisions and what makes sense or doesn't. They can help provide resources for donation centers and who might take certain items that you might want to get rid of. They can help with packing. They can help with unpacking. They can help label things so that when it's move-in day, they can help put things together very organized so that as the movers are bringing things in, they know exactly what room items are going into. So there are people that can help you, because I know that that's one of the biggest things that we talk with our potential new residents is about the task of beginning that process and really just starting and saying, how do I make this manageable? It's stressing me out. There's a lot that I have to get through. And as we kind of talked about in a couple of the earlier slides, starting in small chunks, starting in certain rooms, making a plan, having things well organized, all of this really helps lead into a very successful and easy move. But there are people that we have resources and connections to that we can certainly put you in touch with that can help make the process a much smoother process for you. So you're not alone in that. We have people that can pitch in and help out. Some of the resources here are listed, and anyone that has any particular questions or needs, we can help facilitate and put you in touch with these individuals, or you can reach out to them as well. But again, don't forget, we do have the 2-scale diagrams. So as you know what size apartment that you're moving into, we have certain tools and resources that we can help with in the planning process as well. So we don't want you to have to feel like you're going at it alone. I'm going to turn back now over to Judy and to Chet just to see if there's anything that we've not touched on that maybe they would like to bring up or answer. So I'll just turn back over to Chet and Judy very quickly.
One of the things that we were concerned about, we were 75 when we moved in, was making new friends. Well, there are many, I guess you'd say, things to love about Regency Oaks. But the best thing about Regency Oaks, among many other things, are the people, the residents and the staff. You don't see, I mean, there are a few people here that are not happy in their own skin, so they're going to find fault with anything and everything. But by and large, the big majority of people are smiling all the time, and they're talking to people, and you will be amazed at how quickly you make good friends.
Yeah, that is, I've certainly can attest to how friendly the residents are. Just in general, anytime that we're out and about, approachable, very interested in how things are going, and just wonderful, great people. I think Judy touched on earlier, there's a lot of different clubs and activities. We've had some of our residents that say, I really enjoy the peaceful, quiet nature of Regency Oaks. We're located in a 40-acre residential setting with lots of massive oak trees surrounding us. It's a very quiet, peaceful environment. There's not car, street traffic noise that we hear. We have some people that just enjoy sitting on their lanai, reading a book, and enjoying the peaceful nature that they live in. There's others that are involved in about every club we have. So you can be as active and engaged, but certainly there's plenty of great people here that will quickly become new great friends for you. So is there anything additional to add to any of that?
No, I don't think so. My wife and I moved here. We moved here from out of state, okay? So we didn't know anyone in the neighborhood at all. And I say the neighborhood, I'm talking about the general Tampa, Clearwater area. But like Judy said, it's very easy to meet friends, okay? There's enough activities you can go in. People are very friendly. You can meet them in activities. People, new neighbors will invite you to lunch or to dinner. So it's impossible not to make friends here unless you just don't want to.
That's for sure. Well, again, we recognize and realize that making these tough decisions on what to get rid of, what to downsize or right size to it's easier said than done. But everyone who lives here or any community like ours has had to do that. And the quicker you do it, the faster you move in, the more fun you can have, the more relaxing, stress-free, worry-free type of lifestyle that you can start enjoying. So these are just some high-level, quick thoughts and comments that we wanted to share with you. We're happy, certainly, your sales counselor that's working with you would be very happy to have a much more in-depth discussion at any time. But at this point, I don't know, we had technical difficulties. I'm kind of asking Andrea behind me, are we unable to unmute everyone, or will that create the challenge that we had a little bit earlier? Not certain. But if you have any questions, if you can kind of wave your hand or something at the screen, we'll try to. Fred, I see Fred. Fred's got a question. Can we unmute Fred?
I just want to know what stuff you had. STUFF was something underfoot forever, and I missed the first part.
Yeah, Chet, that was superfluous stuff under.
Hello?
Superfluous things.
Hello?
Underfoot forever.
I got it.
Hello?
That's a good acronym. Yes, I hear someone else has got a question. Go ahead. Hello? Do we have another question?
No, that was it.
Okay, great. Anyone else? Okay, well, again, folks, it's been about a half an hour. That's about the time we thought we'd spend. We appreciate you taking time to let us speak with you and share some of our conversation. I, again, severely apologize for the technical difficulties on the front end. As you can see from Fred and I's exchanges now, I'm not the most technically savvy individual. It took me a little while to get that figured out. But again, we thank you for your time and your interest, and your sales counselors that you've been working with would be happy to answer any questions and provide any more information. All of our external resources that flashed up on the screen earlier that can help in packing and moving and making decisions on what to sort through and assist we're happy to provide any of the resources we can to you to get you moving in a good direction. But as I said, once you get through all of this is the hard part. Once you get through all this, and the faster you get moved in, the more fun your life can begin, and the stress and worry of managing your household, taking care of all the things at your household that you have to, all that can be behind you, and you can start enjoying the great living at Regency Oaks. So again, thank you for your time and attention, and we'll be in touch with you all, and certainly let us know of any questions. Hope everyone has a great day today. And thanks again to Chet and Judy for joining us. And if you have any specific questions to them directly, just reach out to us and let us know, and we'll make sure you get in touch with them. Thanks again. Have a great day, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you.